You cannot be an expert before you start. And in order to start and to start getting those clients, you have to position yourself as an expert and to really almost even like convince yourself, I am the expert. Like talk to yourself, I am the expert. I know what I'm doing. Even when you don't, you will figure it out. Ask ChatGPT, you will figure it out.
You're listening to the Angry Designer Podcast, where we help frustrated graphic designers crush the industry bull and share what it takes to charge what you're worth and build badass, rewarding careers.
What's up, Angry Designers? Let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you are stuck on like a hamster wheel and you're constantly working and trying to grow your business and trying to get more money for your jobs, but you're always hitting the same stumbling blocks over and over and over? I mean, I know that was a huge part of when I started, and I know it's a huge, thing that all freelancers and small agencies go through. So today we brought somebody on who not only has another podcast, which is weird but cool, and we'll battle that out after, I'm sure. But her whole mission is literally to help designers charge more, turn themselves, level up their game, grow into a business, right? And she's got an academy where she trains. She also has an agency, and again, the podcast. So she's got lots of free time. I would like to introduce the one and only Kady Sandel.
Hey!
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here.
No
I love
problem.
that intro. I'm like, I don't even have anything to add to that.
That was the point. I wanted to cover it up. So it's like, okay, mic drop.
Yeah. I love that.
This is so fun. So what's going on? How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well. I am kind of in this stage where I'm just getting too many leads. No, it's like the problem that everybody wants to have.
Yeah, right?
But it can be very stressful.
Absolutely.
And so even like last night at 7 p.m., I'm having dinner with my family, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this email. I opened it 5 days ago on my phone and completely forgot to respond, and it was a new inquiry. Whereas in the past, I would probably leave the dinner to respond immediately.
It's funny. Do you find you're getting, because you're all over the place. We'll get into early starting, of course, but you're all over the place because you've got the podcast, you've got the academy, and then you've got your business. What is drawing in the most amount of leads, or do they all work as one?
No, so I kind of separated the two. So one business is called Aventive Studio, and that is my branding and design agency. And then the other one is Aventive Academy, which is where I help designers grow their business. And I really wanted to separate the two. I didn't want to be one of those brands like, Kady Sandel Designs or something, And so I really wanted to have like two separated businesses. And so the leads are coming from Aventive Studio.
Nice.
And that's all through Google, through SEO and blogging, because that is basically how, I started like in 2000. Now I'm like, what year was that? Like 15 or 17 when I started blogging, actively blogging. And so in the past few months, what happened is, when you type into Google something like, let's say you ask it something, and then you get that AI response.
Yes.
And then you get a couple of articles, read more.
Yes.
So I don't have a proof of this, but I think that Google spots some of those articles from my website.
Fantastic.
And so now it's like AI quick response, plus if you want to learn more, here's an article. And then people are coming to my blog because all of a sudden we have a huge traffic and then leads are coming in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like AI
is helping out in this situation.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So how are you how are you grading which customers are the right fit, or are you at the stage where I'm assuming you're not accepting at all?
Yeah, so the way we are now kind of weeding out like bad fit clients is that we have like a minimum. So it says like minimum $8,000 to work with us. That's like the main, like the key point. I know it's like, money, but
Well, it's
like,
not, because
exactly. And most of our projects are like between like 15 and 25K. So I have to have that minimum. Otherwise, I'm getting inquiries, how much for a logo?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's actually smart to do this, because then people oftentimes a lot of my initial conversations with customers are just to make sure they understand where that range is to work with us, and
Exactly.
I'll give them, 15, 20 minutes, and then I will shoot out a very loose ballpark. Right. And, logo design, okay, high level questions. I'm like, okay, well, just so for us, we're starting at, this. We're starting at 20, 25, and it goes up from there. And then if they were only coming in with a $1,500 budget, we can't make that work.
Yeah.
But if they were coming in with an $18,000, $20,000, maybe we can make that work. But it's like, it's smart to actually put out a minimum level of engagement. Absolutely. I'm a big fan for that. So good on you.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think helped with getting more leads is that I used to have a very long form,
Yes.
a very long contact form. And I thought that's helping in terms of what your goals are, your budget, your timeline, all the things.
Yes.
And then sometimes people would land on that contact form and be like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like a 20-minute form. Do I really want to do that? Well, let's look into other browsers and other designers and other branding agencies. And now my contact form is super short, but it still has that minimum.
Yes. Yeah.
And then from there, we don't even send them directly to a call because I just don't have time to do all the calls anymore. And sometimes they're just waste of time. So from there, then we send them to a longer contact form. Which seems like extra step, but it's all automated and it all works. At least they get this confirmation and then they get personalized email. Thank you so much for reaching out. In order for us to provide a quote, we would need a little bit more information from you if you can quickly fill out this. And then I have the extra questions that
Yes.
used to be in my contact form. So they're engaged. There's the next step.
That's so smart.
And then I get that. And then I can even create a proposal without even talking to them and it's not just a questionnaire.
Yes, of course.
It's still and I still like to talk to them. I still want to see if we are the right fit.
Yeah, of course, of course.
It's not,
But at least now you know that you've already weeded out all the
Yes.
the low hanging fruit, and then not only that meant that then the next level, it's the ones who really
Yeah.
want to work with you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
and so that's
exactly.
a great pool of people because I do find the challenge, of course, is people they're all fighting for a giant pool of work, but they don't even know if that pool of work is good for them or not, where you've taken yourself, your brand, and your agency to a point where you are able to handpick who you want that best suits you and what you're able to deliver. So that's
Yeah.
brilliant. And I think there's a great story here. So let's start right from the beginning. Okay. Where did you start with all of this?
So I was 15 years old. I'm 34 now. This is the only thing I've ever done in my life, basically.
Love it. Love it.
So I was 15 back in Serbia. And in Serbia, we do have high schools, but they're specialized high schools. So that is when I decided to become a graphic designer at 15. And so after that, I finished the Academy of Arts for graphic design, graphic and web design. And then after that, I got a job in Las Vegas and I was working in one signs and printing company. And I started freelancing on the side. And then I discovered Craigslist. So I was posting on Craigslist.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful, but I was trying to figure out how do you find clients, and that was before Instagram became a thing. Facebook was already kind of there, but I don't think it was so much for a business. LinkedIn, I don't even know if I knew about LinkedIn. It was at that time where you had to figure out how to get clients on your own without social media. So I was posting on Craigslist like crazy, 21 posts a day. And it was weird because you were allowed to post only 3 posts a day, but then I had 7 fake email addresses.
Oh, the ethics behind it all.
Oh, I love this.
Exactly.
This is awesome.
This is hustling.
Yeah,
That's what I love.
really
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really is.
And oh my God, few months ago, I actually found some of those posts because they were all copy paste,
Yes.
right? And it's the same post because it's just important that your posts are on top
Yes.
when someone puts graphic design. Literally it was cheap graphic design services. That was a title.
What a great value prop.
Positioning, come on.
Oh my God, there's so much to unwrap here. I love it. But you're right. I mean, back then you were whatever you could do to get attention, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
Exactly. And I was charging $65 for logo design. And so I had to get a ton of work to cover my expenses.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
Yeah. And then, so I moved from Vegas to Denver. And then I was working for just a couple of weeks in one printing company while still trying to make it work on Craigslist. And then I discovered meetup.com, which is this website where people can just register and find events that suits them. And so I found that I can just go to networking events. And I'm a little bit different than most creatives. I'm an extrovert, so I like being around people.
Yeah.
And so I discovered these networking events. And as soon as I started going to networking events, I started meeting people. I started learning more about the business. And, even though I was okay as a graphic designer, that doesn't mean that I was able to make it into a successful business, because it's totally different, like knowing how to design a logo and knowing how to sell that logo. So then I was going to those networking events, met amazing people, and started getting referrals. I was going to 3 to 5 different networking events per week.
Fantastic.
So it was all about like volume game.
Yes.
It's either posting or events. But I had to like make it work. I had to meet people. So yeah, it was like my part-time job going to events, and that's how I started like getting referrals. And then I started blogging on the side, and things just took off from there. But I never really used social media, how you see now young freelancers on Instagram posting and TikTok and whatever. It's just like I never got to that point because I was already able to get referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So then you put a lot of, obviously you're still networking quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But then when did things start ramping up then from this hustle stage to then, again, busier, and then you start bringing on people for this?
Yeah, it honestly took 2 years where I was because I didn't know what's going to work. So it was like one of those things like throwing spaghetti, just like figuring out, like post here, do this, do that. And even though I was going to 3 to 5 networking events, they were all like, not all, but most irrelevant. Yes. I would go there and meet people that have nothing to do with my industry nor know my target audience. Whereas now I go to 1 or 2 a month, like that's it. And they're super targeted where I can either meet my clients or my referral partners who are people that work with the same target audience.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, I feel like I was working harder and not smarter.
Well, again, we all learn, right?
Yeah,
but you're paving it. Yeah. Did you always know you wanted to have an agency, or were you just kind of letting it go?
Yes.
You did.
No. Yes. It was literally, even when I was a kid, I was saying to my mom, I'm going to have an agency. Wow. I would even like make a drawing of like a table and chairs and who's going to sit where.
Oh my God, nice. That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's funny. So you always knew you wanted an agency, but you knew the route to get there would be through graphic design. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. That's exactly like crazy. That's exactly what happened with me. So that's cool to hear. I wasn't crazy.
Amazing.
So then you're 2 years in, and then what happens?
That's when I was blogging on the side because I started learning more about SEO and how maybe one day I don't have to go to that many events and I can actually work a little bit more from home and be more strategic. And so I started blogging, but English is my second language. So, and at that time, we didn't have ChatGPT to proofread it.
Yeah.
And if I needed someone, then I would have to pay them to proofread my blogs. And that would, to me, it would be okay, but it would still be an expense.
Yes.
So I would write a blog post, and then my husband, who's an American, so he would proofread that after his work. And it was like one of those things, like just trying to figure it out. And then as I started getting clients, even just like a few months after that, I just started increasing my pricing on Craigslist. So instead of 65, I was charging like $240.
Oh, that's actually
$460.
4 times.
Exactly. I got to $3,000 for a logo design on Craigslist. Yes.
Wow. That is huge.
But that's like a maximum.
Yeah,
Like there's like no way you can go past that. I mean, I don't know, but So then I started even getting like to 10K months. And then I realized, okay, I'm going to hire like not full-time blogger, but someone who's going to write articles for me so that I don't have to write them. And that's going to bring in more traffic. And even though blogging took time, it was totally worth it. And I was paying just like $40, $60 per that one blog post. And then I would post like 4 to 8 blog posts a month. And then as I started specializing and writing blog posts or having that blogger write for me, even more clients were coming in because it was all like very niche and very specialized, and we were able to target the right target audience and using the keywords and all of that. So that's basically how it all started, going like basically where I was separating myself from Craigslist and cheap design services.
Good niche. I think you're in a better niche right now.
Yeah, I love it.
We talked about this before, but I want you to share, what were some of the fun ways that you would make you look like a bigger agency?
Oh my God. Why are you putting me on the spot?
Well, because, and in all fairness, we're proponents of this. We had a podcast that was about how to make yourself look like a big, and there's so many benefits. We're not talking about tricking people, fooling people, lying.
Exactly.
There is value to this.
Well, I don't know. There was a part of that too.
Okay, fair.
Cool. This is good.
So
good discussion.
I think it was, I don't know exactly what year, but honestly, it was like 2017 or 16. So not that long ago, when it was just me. But I changed everything on my website because I knew I want to grow into an agency and I want to charge more. And in order to hire people, I have to charge more. I had to get more leads or better leads and so on. So I started changing everything to sound like we.
Exactly.
And it was like, we can help you with this and that. We can do this. And to be honest, like, yes, I didn't want to lie. I even had one freelancer that I would outsource to just come up with colors or something like that so that it's still we.
I would also include my contractors, my print agency, right? I would include that underneath the umbrella. Early days as part of the bigger extended team. Now that's a lot more accepted. People seem to include contractors as part of their
it's like
arsenal.
A floating agency model.
But, when we were doing this, it was just like, it was still the extension of your team, just not necessarily on the payroll, which is okay.
Yeah. The one thing that was 100% lie was that when someone would reach out through a contact form, my assistant or my whoever would respond, and it's totally just me using a fake name, and then CC'd my own email.
That's amazing.
And then responding with that so that it sounds like it's us and not me.
That's great.
But that was a lie. That's totally fake it till you make it.
Yeah, right.
But it's just that one tiny step.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know what? Honestly, I remember early days telling customers, no, don't come to us. We'll come to you because your time is more valuable, and we recognize that, and we want to see your. Oh man, all the different lines and everything, and really. It was only a small, 400 square foot office with 2 people in there.
Yeah.
But we sounded like a 20-person shop right from the start.
Exactly. So. Or the other thing was that every time when I would talk to a potential client and I would be like, so what is your timeline? And they say, we would like this project completed in 4 weeks. I'm like, oh, well, let me look into my calendar. And I mean, I know I'm available. I can start right after the call.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
But I'm like, well, let me just look. And then instead of starting on Tuesday, I'll be like, I'm not sure I can do it this week, but I can start on Monday. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay, yes, we want it. Yeah. Okay, I just need down payment this week to reserve your spot.
That's amazing. That's a good one, actually.
That's cool.
I can't say we did anything like that.
But now that one is true.
Yeah.
Now I literally have like starting spots, like, I don't know, September 23rd, October 21st. And I have like a few spots here and there where we can start, because now when I work with a client and when we are starting to work on a project, it's basically a full day brand strategy where we start from. So I have to have those blocks. And now it's all the things that I used to do anyway.
That's so funny. Do you think that maybe you were putting these nuggets out into the universe and it just kind of materialized because that was the direction, that was the spot, and it's just you got there, you were already there. It was just a matter of how big or how full you became.
Yes, 100%. Now, I mean, we can totally go into the law of attraction and how I
You
set
get it.
everything up, but
Absolutely. And I do think that there was some of this with you because it all just seemed to work out very perfectly.
yeah, but I feel that everyone can get to where they want to be if they know exactly where they want to be.
Yes.
And so many people don't know that. You know how many times I hear, oh, I want to have a successful business. And I'm like, what does that look like?
Yep.
And they don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I want to make money. Okay, how much money? Well, it would be good. No, give me the number.
Yep.
Because then we're going to break that down into how many clients you need,
Yep.
how much you're going to charge, how many leads you need, how often you have to post, and how often you have to meet people and connect with them and so on. And then we will get you to that goal. You just have to know your goal first.
Yeah, absolutely. At what point? So, I mean, I love the fact that you had a path and you always knew where you were going to go. Did you always know you were going to be a niche agency?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So let's unpack this tree because that's something. It's obviously a
Yeah.
favorite topic
It's
for me.
yeah. It's
Yeah, I love talking about that because it is one of the things that really helped me become successful. And that is because, so I was just stuck making like 3,000 to 7,000 a month. It's not bad. I mean, it's fine, right? But nothing was changing. And I didn't create a business, but I created a job for me. If I was to work in a design agency here in Austin, Texas, I would be making the same amount of money and probably even working less, to be honest. So it was coming to that point that it didn't make sense. So I started Googling marketing agencies. How can I do ads, or what is that I need to change? But I never thought about niching down yet. And then I went to this one networking event where I met a person that knows a good marketing agency. They introduced me to them and I asked for help. Like, okay, so I need help with Google ads. And they looked into everything that I had. They looked into my website, into my niche, which was graphic design and web design and logo design and poster design and flyer and like absolutely everything, right? And so they literally came back and told me, we don't know, we don't think we can help you. You have too many competitors and we don't even know where to start from unless you want to niche down. And I said, no, there's no way I'm going to niche down. I don't want to put myself in a box because I imagined that now I will have to work on logo designs for realtors only for the rest of my life.
Right.
That's what I saw. And I'm like, I am not doing that. And then they were like, well, let me show you an example of that. And then they showed me a couple of examples. And I was still like, I don't think that's the right, thing for me to do. And then I started thinking that this is not the right marketing agency for me. And at some point, I was like, you know what? I can always stay where I am at the moment, and I can always go back to where I am, or I can try to implement something and see how that goes.
Yes.
So I actually told them yes and paid like $3,000 or $5,000. I know that it was exactly the same amount how much I was making that month, and it was so scary for me to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it was like all the income that I made that month, now I have to pay them. But they helped me so much as we started talking about like niching down, about choosing a specialization. It wasn't even just about like niching down, because niching down always feels so like, oh, I don't want to niche down. I want to specialize, right? It's just a different word, but
It's true.
yeah. And so they asked me, what would I like to do? Where do I see this business in 5 years? Like all the good stuff, right? And I didn't know exactly what my niche would be, but they gave me some suggestions. And so I think I mentioned real estate just because I had a lot of clients in real estate, even though I wasn't passionate about that. But I was like, well, maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. Then the second one was something fashion. I don't know, just because I like high heels. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. And then they suggested health and wellness. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Let's see. So we actually wrote 3 columns and all potential clients. Okay, real estate. That doesn't mean that I will be working on personal logos for real estate agents, but maybe that is an apartment complex. Okay, cool. That sounds fun. Like, I would like to see a huge logo of mine on an apartment complex.
Yep.
Maybe that is a hotel. Maybe that, so I was like writing down all these things that can go under that one niche. And so I did that for every single one. And I actually really liked health and wellness. And I'm like, okay. And I've worked with a couple of wellness, or actually they were health product-based businesses and some kind of like clinics and small hospitals and whatnot. So I was like, well, I even have parts and pieces of a portfolio that I can change. And so I started going health and wellness. It's still very broad.
Yes.
And then I started getting clients that were all like chiropractors, gyms, spas, all the like service-based businesses that are more on the health side, not so much on the wellness. And then I realized, well, I actually don't like this. It's so boring.
Okay. The practitioner's not so good.
Yeah.
It's all the same. They ask the same questions. They want it to be blue or purple and green. And they're so much into what they think they should do. There was no room for me to explore. And you know how that, especially like when it's a hospital.
Yes.
If it's a hospital, they have certain rules and there's no room for creativity. And it was so boring and draining. And I was like, you know what? This doesn't work. Yeah. And then I got one skincare line. And I loved it. I didn't know anything. I didn't know much about packaging, but I was able to make it work. And I just like really love this skincare. So I was like, well, how about I now focus on product-based businesses only? Then I will not be getting hospitals, spas, gyms, and things like that.
Yes.
So that will all be on the side. And so health and wellness product-based businesses.
Yes.
Okay. Eventually, that got to wellness product-based businesses. Then now I'm working with a lot of skincare product-based business. And now it's just like, even that like feels super broad because there's so many different skincare lines.
Now that you know exactly
all the ingredients, is it natural or it's not? Is it clean or, it's like all these things. I feel like you can never narrow down enough.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true. We started with just technology, then B2B technology, and then it was IoT companies, and then it was broadband companies. Like, we are so niche, and we probably could keep going, but I think that's the apprehension of designers is they think, oh, you're only going to be doing real estate logos for realtors. And that's not really what specializing, that's a good word.
No,
that's not what that's about. It's just narrowing your field of view. You could still, so many people within that space.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and now that I have that niche, everything is so much easier.
Yes.
Now I have this like 4-step process for every single brand. My proposals, oh my God, the other day I was recording myself. It took me like 4.5 minutes to write a proposal because it's a template.
Yeah,
done this
right.
before.
Wow, right.
And you just change the price. It's the same process. You change the price based on how many products they have within that skincare line. And it's just like so much easier.
So when you talked about when you started doing networking, you said it was a part-time job. You were at networking event after networking event. Now you're only doing 2 networking events a month. Talk about the difference of that.
Yeah. But now I do a lot of podcasting, and that's how I connect with people and on social media, because I really need that like outside fix. Yeah. So now I go to 2 networking events a month. And even then, I feel like I'm just going there to talk to people, make friends, have free coffee. I'm joking. But, it's like literally this one event is CPG event. So consumer packaged goods. It's all product-based businesses, a lot of health and wellness product-based businesses. And if not, then I meet people who offer different services such as Amazon ads for products, right? They all have my clients. So it's like amazing. And sometimes, for example, like a few months ago, now it's been like almost a year ago, I met this one woman. She has a pet product and we talked, and she already has an amazing designer and her packaging is amazing. And now we're like almost best friends. Like we live super close and we don't even talk about business anymore.
Yes.
Now we're just friends.
Well, it's true because your networking now is a lot more targeted. You're having better conversations. So instead of going to a networking event and being like, oh, you're a graphic designer? I'm a graphic designer. You do logos? I do logos. And, and you can't separate yourself. But now you're going to events, you're talking to people about packaging. You're not only talking to them about packaging, but what's trending for packaging, what's hot right now, what converts better. Then you're finding all these other contractors who support your niche. And so now
Exactly.
you're going to these events, and again, you're just becoming this specialized powerhouse of knowledge, which then they're going to seek you out. And that sounds like that's what's happening right now.
And the other thing is that now I have an amazing photographer that I always send all my clients to. And so when I talk to my clients, I'm like, so once we are done with your labels and packaging, I will send you to this amazing photographer here in town. So it doesn't matter if my clients are here in town or not, but they can ship the product. And then I go to this photographer's studio and act as a creative director because I already know what we need for the website and what we need for social media. And they hire us immediately.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm like closing a lot of sales, because now I have this network, and it's not that they just come to me for branding services, but I can help them with figure out how to even make more sales, connect with UGC creators, people that are promote their products, people that do ads, So it's just like this huge network, like support that I can do for my clients.
Now, let me ask you, do you think, because you went from solo to agency to specialize, now knowing what you know, do you think that freelancers are too small to niche or specialize?
That's a good question.
Put you on the spot here.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. I totally understand why someone wants to be a freelancer, and many people thrive working alone. However, I feel that freelancers can always get to that cap, and they need some kind of help. Either that is a virtual assistant, a salesperson, someone who's going to help them execute the projects. Like maybe they can design a logo, but then they need brand guidelines. It takes so much time to put that document together.
Okay.
And it's not as creative, but they can always like outsource and hire help. So I feel that when you're a freelancer and when you specialize, you can still yes, definitely. I feel like every single person needs to specialize, because when a client comes, now for all the freelancers listening, if a client opens 10 different tabs, which they will do, and if they see a graphic designer or a graphic designer for their specialization, you're out. Like you're out for sure. Like their niche, 100%.
Yes.
And not to mention that on Google, they will not even put graphic designer, but they will put graphic designer skincare or something like that. They will always use one of those words.
Right,
and that's just
right.
like Google. But there are also keywords like that. And you know how often, even now, we still get questions. Have you ever worked with a clean skincare line, this and that? I'm like, okay, yes, I did. But in the past, I didn't have that, So, I feel like every designer needs to specialize in order to grow. And you can become broad later on, or you start broad and specialize, but you can always make changes. Like I feel like running a design business shouldn't be so strict with like rules, like, oh, you have to, but explore and see what's working.
Well, and again, I think that, you can still be broad in services offered, but still specialized to an industry. And, we've been a full service agency since day one, because I didn't want to be bored. I didn't want to just do print ad after print ad. So trade shows, websites, brands, experiences, multimedia displays, you name it, we did it. But it was always for a niche. It was always for a specialized industry.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's here too. Like
it's not. I don't feel it's hindering you, because you can still do everything. It's just helping you be a specialist in a specific lane.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, even now we offer everything from, I always say branding and design agency, because I don't want to be associated with like, website design only or anything like that.
Yes.
So we start with brand strategy, then we have visual identity, labels and packaging, and the website. And for a website, we even provide a copy. And I do have a contractor for that, just because I don't have the need for a full-time employee for website copy. So that is something that's outsourced.
Yeah. The benefit of niching isn't just, like everybody's all harping that it's going to limit them. But what it's going to limit is the parts that we hate. We hate having to recreate a new process because we have to learn about a new industry. We hate having to, go and find out all about these new customers and what their thoughts and when you start picking a lane, right? The time to ramp up is so quick.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that part. I like the creative part. But the ramp up is essential. So now that we have a lane, we know the clients, we know the industry, we know the products, the technology. So, our ramp up time now has gone from 20, 30, 40 hours down to a morning, maybe an afternoon tops.
Exactly.
And we can get on to the fun stuff. And clients appreciate that. And so do I. Because again, I don't have to spend. Imagine if we had to do a proposal that took 4 hours every day, every time.
But it took 4 hours.
It did, right? And now 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is literally, as soon as I specialized, I got my time back.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, proposals,
Yes.
getting clients. Now I can just go on LinkedIn and search for skincare business owners in Austin,
Yes.
connect with them, send them a note, or connect with Amazon specialists in Austin, or it doesn't matter location, I'll just say in Austin, but, and then connect with them and start getting clients. And, it's just so much easier. It saves so much time and effort. And when it comes to branding project as well, I don't have to learn about the industry. I already know a lot about the industry. Yes, I'm going to still, do some research and look into their direct competitors and things like that. But it's very easy.
Do you think people need to have a change in mindset to embrace, specializing or niching?
Yes, and I think that a lot of people decide to specialize when they're already so desperate, when they're okay, I don't know what else to do.
Yes.
So before even comes to that, I think that everyone should know that they can always go back to where they are.
Yes.
You can always go back to being broad. But if that doesn't work for you, why wouldn't you try to specialize? And if one niche doesn't work, as designers, take us a week to change everything. Just make changes to the portfolio, have some fake portfolio case studies. I mean, I call this fake. A lot of designers hate that when I say, it's a fake portfolio, but it's a conceptual project, whatever. I'm it's the same, but whatever.
Yeah. But
So
now
just
the conceptual makes sense and there's a reason for it, right? As
Yes.
opposed to having a whole portfolio of conceptual everything. Right.
Exactly.
So it is still intentful. And I do find that.
Yes. And the other thing is that many designers are afraid to specialize because they don't have enough portfolio pieces. And they don't need to have more than 4. That's enough. 4 nice case studies, scrolling content per each.
Yep.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Clients don't even want to open 20 portfolio tabs.
Yeah, absolutely. So what strategies did you use, or did you use any strategies when you first started getting into a niche market to kind of, allow you to get to that higher pay, better clients? Was there anything that you did initially other than tailor your portfolio?
Yes. So that was at a point where I was working on visual identity only. So I would design a logo, clients would come to me, even though I was already a specialized designer. Yep. And I was trying to grow into this agency, but every time when a client would come to me, I send them this questionnaire, what colors they prefer, fonts that they like, logos, Pinterest board.
And that still exists.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I see that all the time and I'm no, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. And not to mention that you don't even get relevant responses because they don't know.
No
sometimes
clue.
I would get I love these 10 logos and they have nothing in common. And I'm okay, so might as well not be why did you even respond?
I love it when we have so many times gotten, I want our website to look like Apple's website, right? Make it look like Apple.
Yes.
Well, then when you give them an Apple-esque website, minimal, a lot of white space, focusing on products, they're like,
it's
what
boring.
What is this? This isn't what I wanted. And it's I think you are embracing the brand, not the actual website. And because they're not at that brand stage, they can't. So again, customers don't realize. They don't know what they know, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I started looking for or searching for how do I make these brands better?
Yes.
And that's when I discovered brand strategy and started learning more about full brand strategy, and it was kind of confusing because there's so many different resources, and I thought there has to be this like one template that I would follow. But then even when I did follow, I would ask clients some questions, they respond, and I have no idea what to do with that information. Like your vision, okay, cool, who cares about the vision, and how do I connect that with a logo?
Yeah.
It was like all the things.
Yep.
Until I really learned how to do full brand strategy that then I can translate into visuals. And then I realized, well, actually, I'm providing so much value now to these brands, and I shouldn't be charging like $3,000, $5,000 anymore. And I honestly went from like $3,000 to $5,000 directly to $12,000 because I was like, I have to make this work.
Yes.
And in order to make that work, I have to hire someone, because if I'm doing brand strategy and it takes me like 40, 80 hours, I can't charge this much. Like I have to grow. And I got yes for $12,000, and I'm like, okay, that works. Yeah, okay. So that was like first proof that my work is valuable.
Yes.
And everything that I do, I can make more money. But not just that, I am now really helping my clients, because when I look into the logos that I designed in the past, some were bad, like really bad, and some were okay, but maybe not for that brand. Yeah. And so all the things, versus now they get like full brand strategy. They know exactly what they should do, who their target audience is, their brand attributes, all the good stuff. And then they also get like the visuals. And then of course, now that I work with product-based businesses, labels and packaging and the website. And when I package all of that, I can charge $25,000, $35,000. Sometimes even that is low. I remember working on this one visual identity for $5,000, and I was so proud of myself, like charging $5,000. And I wanted to offer them a website as well, kind of like an add-on.
Yep.
And I was about to say that it would be like $4,000 or $5,000, and they said, no, we already have a website designer. It's $25,000, and I'm like, what? Like at first I thought I didn't understand. I don't even know why my client shared that. It probably accidentally. And so I'm like, $25,000. And then later I looked into that website, and it's almost like a landing page. Mm-hmm. And so but it's a very good website. It's all focused about like on the conversion and making sales. So it doesn't matter if it has 20 pages or 2 pages.
Correct. Yeah, I understand.
But I didn't understand that in the past, where I would think like, okay, I'm going to charge $500 per page, depending on how many pages they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it was the whole thing. So the way I was able to increase my pricing, yes, it was specializing and really understanding my target audience, and then bringing on that extra service, which was brand strategy.
Yeah.
So that I provide more value to my clients.
Would you, I know about the blogging and the importance of that. Would you blog on Instagram? Would you update your Instagram profile? Was there small things like this to put yourself out in the business world?
Yes. It took like a couple of hours. I just added health and wellness in front of every branding word. So it's not branding anymore. It's health and wellness branding.
Yeah, there you go.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Exactly. But even like my Instagram profile now for my company, I know we didn't post anything for the past like 3 or 6 months or something like that. And even prior to that, my manager would talk to my designer. So my manager would write a not blog post, but a caption. And then my designer would design, I think it's just a single post, and they post that. Mm. And we were posting on Instagram once a week, just so if people check on our Instagram, that they see that we're alive, that it's not like closed company. Yeah. Exactly. And we even now have pinned posts. We're not active on Instagram. Huh. Like we are here, we exist. Our clients are coming. And I think I even share, our clients are coming through blog, LinkedIn, and networking events. So there's no point for me of being on Instagram. But if you want to work with us, this is our email.
Smart. That's actually smart.
Because I don't want to focus on Instagram or add one more platform, because this is what's working.
Do you think that in order for you to take this next step, or designers, they need to fully embrace and believe it? Or do you think it's more of a stepped approach? I'm almost fake it till you make it, in the sense of, okay, I'm going to go for health and wellness. I'm not the expert yet, but I like this industry. I can do this, and I'll be the expert, even though I'm not now. Do you think they have to be the expert initially?
No, they don't have to be the expert at all.
Yeah.
They just have to start, because you cannot be an expert before you start. And in order to start and to start getting those clients, you have to position yourself as an expert and to really almost even like convince yourself, I am the expert. Like talk to yourself, I am the expert.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Even when you don't, you will figure it out. Ask ChatGPT, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like you have to start from somewhere in order to start getting those leads and clients. And then eventually you will even replace all the portfolio that I just talked about, like the conceptual projects, you will replace it with real projects. It's like you just have to start. You really have to believe in yourself. And I know that sometimes it's hard, but there are many YouTube videos on that people can play. And now we are getting into this like woo-woo things.
Yeah. No, I get it. But what's interesting is you took a very logical approach in choosing your niche, your lane, your specialization. I mean, we've always told people, easier said than done, of course, but always shoot from your interests first, something you're really passionate about, because it makes it easier. But I like how you approached it in a more logical sense, because I feel that is, if somebody isn't, and I know a lot of people that just, they're not passionate about anything. They work, they like to work, and they're happy to work, but they're not, gung-ho into something. But you took logic to this, and you took more of a big business mindset and, picked some lanes that you had, interest in, maybe not completely 100% passionate about, but interest. And through that, it sounds like it's developed into a passion.
Yes, but I also think that these networking events helped, because I met so many different business owners and entrepreneurs. And so I feel like they were shaping my mind from cheap design services on Craigslist to how to actually build a profitable design business.
Yes.
Because I would hear from them. Like, I went to this one networking event, and the person who I talked to, he's like, so who's the owner of your company? And I'm like, it's me. Oh, I'm talking to the owner. You're not a salesperson.
People really like that, don't they?
What do you mean, like salesperson? Oh, maybe I can hire a salesperson. Or no, maybe they really like talking to me and they're surprised. And that's the benefit. Yes. And so, you start thinking about like all these different positions within one company and where I want to be in my company, and then who else I need to support my company. So I think that, just going to these networking events and meeting people and hearing that, quick little feedback helped me shape my mind in terms of what I want to do and where I want to be.
Yeah, very cool. Cool. And now your agency is at a rockin' pace, and you're growing like insane right now, right?
Yes, but I don't want to grow anymore.
It's funny. There comes a certain point where it does. It feels like it's almost too much. Yeah.
I know, because now I have these like 6-7 people and some contractors, and it's like we're really at a good spot. Now, the only thing where I'm seeing growth or where I want to grow is like maybe increasing pricing. So instead of 25, now we're going to charge 35. Instead of 35, it's going to be 45K and things like that. But I don't want to have like 100 people within my agency and have managers. And I feel like then I'm losing that connection with the creativity, and I want to be the creative director in my branding agency.
Yes.
But that's why I started this Aventive Academy on the side, because I started getting my time back, hiring people. Now I don't even work more than like 15 hours a week on my branding agency. Everything else is like Preventive Academy, for that Instagram profile, doing podcasting, connecting with like-minded people. And so, yes, now I'm at this stage, like, what am I doing?
Dude, that's an incredible stage.
Yes, it is. It's fun and it's challenging, but different challenge than when you're starving and not able to,
Well, let's talk about then unstarving people and Aventive Academy. So how did this even start? Because, you weren't even I came from a different era where there wasn't any information on how to do what we do, and you've kind of, shown in such a short time, you can be successful, and then you already want to teach other people to be successful. So where did this come from? And good on you, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it started again from one of the networking events. It was called Fresh to Design, I think, or Fresh to Designs, something like that. And so I went to that event thinking I'm going to connect with these people who are growing businesses, design business owners. But instead, I met with freelancers who are just starting. I mean, the name itself, it says like fresh to design. But whatever. So I started meeting these people and they started asking me these questions. Who did you hire first? How did you get 10K clients? How did you build your portfolio? Like all these questions. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like this because now I have the knowledge and I felt like really good helping those designers on the spot. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to start this Instagram account called Aventive Academy because Aventive Studio is my business. Didn't put that much behind it. Like it will be just the academy, just that. And then maybe I'm going to attract some designers. So I created one carousel, 10 slides. I think now you can do even 20. I mean, it's crazy. But like you can do like 10 slides, how to get clients. Of course, that was like the first topic because I didn't know what else to talk about. Okay, how to get clients. And I started getting followers like crazy. Like I think in just a few months, I hit those like 10K followers, got the swipe up button, all the things it used to be in the past on Instagram. Now everybody has the link and whatever. And so I was just like getting a lot of followers. A lot of people were asking me about things. And then I built the Profitable Designer program, which is my online course. And I think I priced it at like 400. People started enrolling. Then I went to 600, 1,000, 1,500. And people are still like buying and getting amazing results. Like charging from $7,000 for visual identity to $25,000 and whatnot. So I focused so much on that one course. And then I started adding like different PDFs and freebies. And then I went into the whole digital marketing thing. It was like starting a different but very similar business. And then as my branding and design agency grew, and I had kids, and so I started working less and less and realized that I actually don't have to work as much in my branding agency as I was outsourcing and hiring and, again, like getting my time back. So I was able to really put time and effort into Aventive Academy.
Yes.
And now I kind of like do both depending on the day and how I feel. And even like this morning I was playing with AI, probably even like too much.
That's
I was
always
like,
fun.
I know. I'm like in Photoshop, like playing it. I'm like, no, I have better things to do.
It's so
I actually should respond to these emails and whatever, but I have to like stay on the ground and keep it all relevant. Because if I don't play with AI, it will just, in 2 years, I will not know how to use Photoshop.
It'll be almost unattainable to catch up, won't it? It'll be like starting over. Absolutely.
Exactly. But it's so much fun.
Yeah. So now you've got your business, you've got the academy, and then you decide to have a podcast.
Oh.
Why didn't you make the podcast part of the academy, like just an extension of? Or
it is.
Or it is more or less?
Yes, it's supported. So basically, even like in my intro, I say like, my name is Kady Sandel. This podcast was brought to you by Aventive Academy. And so in my podcast is all educational content. And then I talk about my courses so people can buy my courses. That's kind of like support. It's almost like a marketing tool, but I really enjoy it. I love it.
Yes.
I love doing my podcast. I do like having guests, but I also like doing solo podcast episodes. So it's kind of like a mix of the two, especially like when it's solo episodes and it's like 2 a.m. and I get this idea, I'm going to record it.
And you just run downstairs and do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because then it's like 20, 30 minutes and it's very short. And it's usually based on a question that I get from a designer on Instagram most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like very easy for me to record those podcast episodes.
So how are you finding the time then? And I know we talked about a little of this beforehand, but how are you finding time then to create all the shorts and posts and this and that? And then you have kids in the mix, and are you a master at time management or?
I'm tired just
I don't think
that.
so. So right now I work only 9:30 till 2. So what is that? 4.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's for both. But I have a very good support system where I have those B-rolls that I told you about. I think I said that before the recording. So let me just say it again. But basically what I do is when I'm designing something, when I'm talking to clients, when I'm recording a podcast, I just have a phone on the side recording me. And then I can cut that video into short clips, and that's my reels.
Yes.
And then I upload that into a folder. And my manager, my virtual assistant, she takes that, she writes captions, she puts the title, my designer would design a cover and they post it. So I sometimes don't do absolutely anything, and they can pull all the content from my course. So it's still like very original. It's still coming from me. So it's not like a random virtual assistant like putting things together. It's all my content.
Yes.
And then when it comes to carousels, now that I've been posting carousels for the past 4 years, we are reusing some of the past carousels, just making some changes. My designer would do that. And so, even though you see me like being super active on Instagram, it's mostly me in stories. That's what's accurate, because when I'm talking, I'm talking. Nobody else can do that. Podcast really doesn't take much. It takes me like 30 minutes to script, because I just write notes, not fully scripted where I have to like read the whole thing. It's 30 minutes to record, maybe a couple of hours if I have a guest. Newsletter is also like 30 to 45 minutes. What else for Eventive Academy? Almost nothing, like nothing much.
You make it sound like it's so easy, but
Wow.
I think I got to sign up for the Academy just so I can figure out how to time
what's going
manage
on
like
here.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just the right support system.
Yes.
Like when I'm working with clients, I'm the one that does sales calls, which that is now getting a little bit more difficult because we're getting so many leads that it is getting a little bit more difficult. Like,
Yeah.
I will have to figure that out. Either I will hire someone to do sales for me, or I will have to have someone write my newsletter or something else so that I can get that time back. But we'll see. That's now the thing where I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I think now I'm like maxed.
Do you so support systems process? Generally designers, this is something designers need to learn. And there's so much benefit to it, but I remember initially I heard process and I cringed. Do you think you can create enough processes where you can a freelancer we'll start with a freelancer can double up their overall productivity, their revenue? Is this something that can happen at that freelance stage, or do you think you need to take your business to the next level first and be reactive to it?
No, I don't think you have to take your business to the next level first, but you have to have the money to pay another freelancer to support you, whether that is a virtual assistant or another graphic designer or a blogger like I did or whatever it is. Like, you have to get to the point where you can put some money to the side, because the main difference between being a freelancer is that you're doing everything by yourself and you're keeping all the profit and all the money.
Yep.
Versus here, it's actually not that, like you have to pay.
Yeah.
So like you have to get to a certain point where you feel comfortable, maybe even before you feel fully comfortable, at least outsource some parts of your business. Because if you are constantly working in your business, you will not be able to work on your business, and it's so hard.
Yeah. I think maybe that's where, it's almost a mind shift change that needs to happen.
Yeah.
When people think freelancers, they think this, nomad lifestyle, they can do what they want, free and free of chains. But you almost have to think of yourself more as that solopreneur, where it's still a business. If you're charging money, it's a business. So it's okay to bring on some outside help, contract out and learn how to charge for that. Learn how to build it into your costs. Learn how, and then see the value. Because I think that's where, hustlers, at the beginning, it's like, I'm not going to hire someone to do that. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it really fast and this and that. But when you start embracing and start relieving yourself and delegating some of these tasks, your productivity goes through the roof. So I remember I used to do my own books. I used to think that was the only way it could be done. Why would I pay somebody? But man, how liberating was it when I found someone to do my books?
I think that's the first thing that I mentioned, like at least hire a CPA. Like
Yes.
at least that. It takes so much time and effort, and it's so not creative.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
But now that you mentioned like freedom and flexibility, I think that now I have more freedom and flexibility when I have the team than when I was a freelancer.
Right.
Yes, as a freelancer, you can work from anywhere in the world, you can work whenever you want, but as a design agency owner, like when you have the team, you actually don't even have to work as much.
It's true, right? When it's a good team, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I was able to take 2 months off last year, month and a half this year, because I don't have to actively design and talk to clients. I know that my team has my back. Like, yeah, sometimes like on Friday in Malta, I'll check my email just to make sure nothing's falling apart, but that's it.
Yeah. How do you, so, because you have a brand strategy background as well, how do you think, or how would you recommend freelancers or people scaling up their business can keep the quality rock solid while bringing in contractors and slowly growing their team to the next level? How do you make sure that doesn't get out of control? Because that might be a fear for some people.
Yeah. When I first started bringing on like contractors, before I had hired anyone, it was just another freelancer who would help with brand strategy or who would help with visual identity a little bit. Like she would send me an Illustrator file, I would design a little bit, I would send that to her. Like it was a lot of like micromanaging, just because I wanted to make sure that we are delivering the same quality that I promised to this client or that they're paying for because they're working with me as a freelancer and they saw my portfolio and they want to work with me. And I even asked my clients, hey, would you mind if I bring on more people? And they said, we don't mind as long as you keep the quality of work at that level. And then I was like, oh, okay. And so like 4 or 5 years ago, I found this one girl on Facebook. Actually, someone posted they're looking for a graphic designer, freelance graphic designer, and she posted she's a graphic designer. I clicked on her portfolio and I just loved it. And then I reached out to her like, hey, I have a client for you, but it will go through me. So it was kind of like, I was trying to figure that out. Like, how does that exactly go? If it's a freelancer and not a full-time employee, not a part-time employee, because I already had employees, but I was just trying to figure out like, how would I outsource? And then I had this fear, what if she starts talking directly to my client?
Of course.
What if she tells them I paid her $5,000 and I charged my client $12,000? Like all the things. But that's not a case. It's just a fear that we have. But as soon as you let that go, like, yes, of course, you might find a shitty person that will do that. But then you're like, just, I don't know. It's not going to happen, So you have contracts in place and all that. And it's just a lot of micromanaging at the beginning until you realize that you actually don't have to micromanage. Like now, all my designers are better designers than I am, honestly. Like they're amazing.
That's a sign of good leadership, though, because again, a good leader hires people better than they are or trains people to be better than they are. So good on you.
Yeah. Honestly, like all my employees are like better, like they just see differently and they're so focused on one thing at a time versus when I'm now more on the business side, not so much on the being inside a program. Yes, this morning in Photoshop, but
for fun.
But exactly. But also a really cool thing when you work with people and when you have your team is it's so collaborative. Like we were just working on this one pet product, like labels, and my designer sent me the files and I'm like, oh, something's missing, something. Oh, how about we just add this? And she added it and that was it. Like approved from the client, no revisions, no questions asked. And we both, me and the designer agreed like, yes, that was what was missing. Or it would be like vice versa, like different, you know? So it just like feels really good to have another set of eyes or a few more eyes where we can all look into this one project. And then of course I can charge more because the quality I think is also at another level when few people are working on it than one.
Yeah, totally. So a confident leader expresses, that their team is better than they are in skills. How do we instill this in people who are slowly starting up this journey? How do you get this mentality? Because you would think people become very protective when they start, and nobody would ever admit, oh, somebody who I hired is better than me. But that is what it takes, isn't it? How do we help people overcome this apprehension?
It's funny. As soon as I said this to someone else, like I don't remember who and when, but I basically said, I think that she's better designer than I am. I was almost like offended. Like, how is that possible? Like I hired someone who is better. Like what? Yeah. And then someone told me, well, Steve Jobs was always saying that he was hiring only people that are better than him. nobody at his level or below, only people that are better than him. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It makes sense. So let me look more into that. And I was actually reading about it. Like, how does that work? How do I hire someone who's better than me? Then why don't they have their own business? And to be honest, some of them don't even want to have their own business. They would rather have this 9 to 5. And I have a friend, she lives in Paris, and she always says, I would hate having my own business. I love clocking in 9 a.m., 5 p.m., that's it. And I don't think about it. And I'm like, I would never want that. You know, it's like,
Agreed.
we're all different. So even if a designer is now listening to this and they're thinking, I actually want to have, like work maybe for someone else or something, it's totally fine. Not everyone has to have this like big, successful, profitable design business or whatever. It's just like you have to figure out what you want to do in your life and then kind of like go from there. But yeah, all these designers that I hire are just amazing designers and not so much into business.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk to clients. Like sometimes they even have trouble with that. I'm like, I just need one more person to be on my sales call and I can't find anyone from the whole team and I don't want to force them.
I know.
I'm like, I just want one more person. And they're like, no, I don't want to be here.
Do you know, I almost had to go to Vegas, back to your hometown for a conference.
Yeah.
And it was hard to try to find somebody else to come with me. I'm like, how do you guys not want to do this?
Exactly.
It's tough. It's tough.
In all fairness, I'm his partner in crime, basically, but I just couldn't make it this year. So
then I had to find somebody else.
Yeah.
And it was in the end, okay, somebody did step up and it was great. But yeah, I would think people would jump over, working 12, 14-hour days in Vegas for 3-4 straight days. I would think that's cool, but no, apparently not.
Nobody wanted to do that. Strange.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. All right. Well, listen, before we finish this off with our fancy dancy, fire round questions, how are people going to find more about you, your academy, and all the amazing things that you can help with?
Yes. So they can find me on Instagram at Aventive Academy. They can find our website, Aventive Academy, and they can find the Profitable Graphic Designer podcast on all the platforms. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
That sounds so much better than the Angry Designer podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the profitable.
The profitable designer.
I think more people would
What would
lean
you rather
toward.
be, profitable or angry?
I think I might need some branding help from you, Kady. Rebrand time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Starting at 8,000.
Oh, always working. I love it.
Okay. As you know, we finish off every conversation with a lightning round questions. Okay, that are going to give us an idea of who you are, a little bit more of, what you stand for. And mostly it's just all about fun. I always say you won't be judged, but you will be judged.
I know. Now you're going to ask me, like, who am I going to vote for or something like that?
Oh, wow.
Oh, hell no. We're not going anywhere there. Not even touching that.
I know. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Okay. 2 minutes.
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. Ready?
Okay. Here we go.
Mac or PC?
PC.
Paper or tablet?
Paper.
Favorite music?
Depeche Mode.
Oh, good on you.
Nice.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning, like 4:30 a.m.
Oh, yeah, but that's not fair. Because the
Jeez.
kids are work.
Yeah.
Favorite color?
Black.
Yeah.
It's not a color, but
Good choice. Good choice.
I mean, look.
It works. Yeah.
Favorite childhood cartoon?
I don't know. SpongeBob, Ren and Stimpy. No, that was later. I don't know. That was later.
That's okay. There's
I don't know.
That's good. Yeah.
Favorite brand of makeup?
Oh, that's a good one. Olay.
Olay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, Olay.
Do you have a favorite superhero?
Not really.
Not
No.
really. Okay, no problem.
No, my daughter is now all about like freezing me, so I'm that kind of superhero as well. Like she's running and I'm like, shh, and then she's frozen.
Wow, that's brilliant. Jeez. Mouse or stylus?
Stylist.
Favorite graphic design trend right now?
Oh, I don't know anything about trends. It's like I'm so bad with that. It's almost like I don't even think they should exist because
Oh my God,
everything
music to
should
my
be
ears.
timeless. But okay,
Coffee or tea?
coffee,
Carnivore or vegetarian?
carnivore,
Puppies or kittens?
kittens,
Pirates or ninjas?
ninjas.
Which do you prefer to clear your mind? Yoga or HIIT?
Hit.
Oh,
Wow.
Jeez, that sounds tiring. Favorite graphic designer?
Oh, I don't know.
No?
Many to count. I'm not going to.
Okay, how about a favorite artist?
Favorite artist. Now when I say, a lot of designers will be like, "What?" I think Jackson Pollock.
Oh, no,
Nice.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Great,
That's
yeah.
actually good.
Yeah.
But a lot of designers don't agree with his approach, and I've heard that in the past. So
Well, I mean, in all fairness, I mean, he's pretty popular. So I think you're
Yeah.
okay there, and he's done really well.
and Dali, of course, and all
Dali,
those,
yeah.
So
Which is closer to your heart, RGB or CMYK?
CMYK,
Serif or non-serif?
non-serif.
Favorite font right now?
Oh, I don't know. If I say Poppins, designers are going to hate me, but that's okay.
We won't, because
Yeah,
that's our
we love
font. So, but everybody's hating on it lately.
Oh, yeah.
That's my font too. That's your font? It's
Is
my
it? Yeah, it's our font too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew there was something smart about you. Illustrator, Photoshop.
Illustrator.
Nice.
Morning smoothies or late night snacks?
None.
Oh, that's why she looks so thin. Damn it!
Nice, I know.
True or false? AI will replace designers.
No, it will not. It's totally false. It will replace designers that are not using AI.
Good answer. What is your dream brand to work with in the health and wellness space?
I don't know. I actually don't know because we work mostly with like small to medium-sized businesses, but I can tell you that I would like to work on like supplement companies and meal replacement shakes, like something like that.
Oh, that would be fun too.
So I don't know, it's not a name and they're not famous, but something like that.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure?
I like to drink.
Ah,
Not a lot, but I do.
dude, if I could be drinking scotch right now with that, it'd be great.
What's your drink of choice?
What's your drink of choice?
Prosecco now.
Oh, that's very
really?
nice. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds very fancy.
Yeah, that does.
It's actually not that fancy. It's like a $8 bottle in Costco.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, what burns more calories? Pilates or chasing your children?
Chasing my children.
There you go.
I'm like, I don't know the right answer, but this is what I feel.
And last but not least, what's one thing that always makes you angry?
When someone is late.
Oh. Yeah, you strike me as the type. That would make me nervous.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were on time. And
Yeah.
wasn't she here already
Yeah, wait.
when we got here?
No. We came here first.
You thought that I'm not here. That's why you guys talked about how good looking you are.
That's what it was.
You just didn't see me, but I was here.
Yes. Oh, right.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, busted.
Well,
Oh, that's
you
great.
accomplished the 2-minute fire round question in just under 5 minutes. So good on you.
Amazing.
Pretty average. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's great. You did great.
Oh, Kady, thank you for doing this. It's always fun to talk to you. I love having these conversations.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I feel like now it's time to have you both on my podcast because I had only half of you.
Yeah. This half, Sean.
Well, it's the better half.
It's
so-
that. I'll take that.
The better looking half? Or
better looking half. Yes.
That apparently, according
Going
to the
back to the
conversation.
beginning.
Yes, that's right. Oh, it's amazing. Listen, you know what? Thank you for what you do with your academy and your mission. I really appreciate that. I think that the world of design is so much better now, coming up with people like you who are putting out real good content like this that, otherwise they wouldn't get other than through trial and error. So good on you. Thank you for all this.
It's still
appreciate
busting your
thank you.
ass. That's
I
awesome.
know.
Like, I love that. I think that's very cool. Like, it's, you're really working hard still. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I love what I do with both, with the studio and with the academy. So it's my pleasure to do this.
Yeah, amazing. While drinking Prosecco.
Yes.
All right, I appreciate that. All right, everybody, you know where to find Kady, and of course, you know where to find us week after week. Come back next week, and I don't know why I said that. I never finish off with that. But
Yeah, that's
just
odd.
come back and listen to both the podcasts, right? And for the record, you can go listen to Kady's podcast and figure out how to be profitable.
Yep.
But don't leave ours forever, okay? At least use this for some sort of creative content.
Yeah, stay here if you want to be
entertainment
angry.
Yeah, that's right. You might be angry. Yeah.
All right, everybody. My name is Massimo.
My name is Sean.
And you are...
My name is Kady.
Stay creative.
And stay angry.
Peace.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.